made a mistake in the pose that I've chosen for Sully because I didn't think about what her outfit would be. Does she have alternative clothing? Because I don't know how to do this. Okay. I think I'm just gonna have to draw Sully. And then be completely lost. With what I'm doing the pose. Okay, well, I'm gonna figure out this pose thing. Fire Emblem armor makes me want to cry. There is a reason that I am cosplaying Edelgard. It's because her armor is basically just on her arms and legs. There's nothing else you have to worry about. The neck color I have is a bit restrictive, but compared to other characters, compared to Dimitri, makes a lot more sense. I'm gonna scream. Who designed this? Who do I need to talk to about this? Why does she look like she's bolted down to this thing? I have to remember that I'm just doing sketches. I'm not like gonna fully render this. I gotta make the, you know, sketch look nice enough, but I don't have to spend forever on it. God. Sully's armor makes like no sense to me functionally. Cause you wouldn't, just in general with armor, I'm pretty sure the point of having armor is so it's not like straight up against your body, so it can like more easily distribute the blow of whatever you're taking. So having it like this close, and this is not just a criticism on Sully's design, it is also almost everyone else's in Fire Emblem. You would want to have, you know, armor that isn't like form-fitting. Also, I think she's wearing a helmet, like you just plop it like this. I'm not sure. Yeah, I have no idea exactly what this bucket-looking thing on the back is. Alright, I should circle back because my cursor's off. But, you know, this thing. I don't know what that is. I'm gonna guess it's a helmet that she never wears. I'll have to look at the models. I'm like having the hardest time grasping what the purpose of this thing is. And is she wearing any armor on his stomach, which is arguably the most vulnerable area? I don't want to say this because it's just like, oh man, how dare they not have realistic armor in this game. I just don't understand this in particular. Like, I can deal with the other weird armor that's in the other games. Just this one I'm like weirdly hung up on. I keep thinking, like, the artist part of me is like, okay, like, it's fine, it looks cool or whatever. I mean, I'm kind of neutral on how this design looks, but when it comes to weird, like, designs, I'm like, okay, as long as it looks cool and it kind of makes sense, then I'm good with it. But the part of me that wants to draw things from different angles and also wants to cosplay them are just like, I have no idea what's happening right now. Okay. Okay, I think Sully's sketch is done. Gotta get rid of the hand, because I don't know where she'd put it. Who do we work on next? Kinda wanna on Thyma, because her hair is cute. Thema? I'm not actually sure. Oops. Oh no, how do I unbind this? I kind of want to flip the canvas because I'm one of those people who can only draw faces drawing a certain direction. Okay, who's next? Wait, let's flip this first to make sure it doesn't look terrible flipped. Do with an adjustment, but not bad. Oh jeez, okay, I need to move for a little tiny bit because I didn't think about the size I was working on. Okay, I'm gonna do, what's his name? Flamebringer or something like that? Yeah, Flamebringer. Okay, There are no pictures of him where you see his other eye. So I'm gonna hope it's something normal. All of these look like fan art, so I'm just gonna assume that this is the only picture of him that exists. Wait, I might have found something. Okay, it does look like he has normal looking face. I have a hard time with this expression, so I always do. It's just like looking very seductively at someone. So I was looking up references, and man, some of these just are. They just look like people kind of being smug. They don't look seductive, in my opinion. Or very awkward. They don't really look like they're trying to naturally like express. I'm not really sure what face shape to go for this guy because I really only have 2 images of him, and it's very anime proportions, and I don't know a lot about his personality, so I'm just gonna go with a generic face shape, and then if there are anatomy issues, I'll look up stuff. But kind of don't have a distinct idea of what I'm doing with this guy. His face looks kind of sharp though, but that's kind of all anime. Kind of looks like a vampire. I'm not sure what to make of him. Because kind of everyone in Arknights has edgy designs, so I'm like, I can't just say this guy's the edgelord, because everyone looks like the edgelord. Maybe I'll regret drawing this dude's hand, but you know what? Just have a generic, very soft, unsexy hand for now. He looks like a little goblin. Just like a little gremlin who doesn't know how to flirt. Where are his eyebrows? I can't tell anything about his eyebrows. Oh, hello. I wasn't looking at the chat, so I didn't notice that you came in. I'm drawing, Flamebringer from Arknights. I have no idea who this person is. I was just suggested to draw them for the 6-fan art challenge, and I thought they looked really cool. So, it was either between, like, that or a really buff Monokuma, and I'm still thinking about doing that one as a joke, but I'm like, I don't know, picking 6 that were like normal were a little hard. I had to like ask people for more suggestions because I'm like, I don't really want to draw a really buff cartoon bear. I'm a little scared. I had a friend send me like their Google image search, like this is what happens when you draw buff Monokuma, and I'm like, I don't know if I want to be one of those artists. maybe as like a quick sketch. But yeah, I've drawn other characters. I drew Sully from Fire Emblem Awakening because I started playing Awakening the other day. And I will just say Sully gives off like lesbian energy vibes. And then Thyma or Thema, I don't know what her name is. Tima? Who knows? I haven't watched the English dub of Promare since December, and my plan to rewatch it isn't currently happening, so I have no idea how to say your name, but that was a suggestion from one of my friends in the Discord. Man, this guy is, I need to erase his nose. He's giving off the wrong vibes. I mean, hey, there's certain types of curse that I am willing to become. I keep gesturing to Toe Lorenz. I keep terrorizing my friends with him. Every time that I I play Drawful. I always have to make my icon To Lorenz. To the point where one time I drew it and I was playing with people from a different server from my usual group. They were like friends of friends, and then they're like, wait. Are you the person who drew To Lorenz? That like, are you the person who drew that thing that like our mutual friend drew or through showed us? And I was like, unfortunately, I am that person. I'm becoming known. Or another time, I was in the Mary Hilda Discord server, and someone there's like a memes channel, and someone just showed my To Lorenz in there, and then the server owner like added me. They're like, "This is you, right?" And I'm like, "Yeah." Like, I'm sorry that I did this, but I'm not because it's really funny. I really need to look up better reference images of someone looking like down, or I guess looking up from this perspective. Yeah, I am becoming the person in several friend groups that draws terrible things. um I just like get inspiration from other people's cursed stuff and then I just like draw it. Like it just brings it into fruition. Or I get a cursed thought in my head. I'm like, oh, I have to draw this right now. That's how Reverse Catboy came into existence. I was like, I follow someone on Twitter who talks about Catboys a lot, and then I was like, but what if there was a Reverse Catboy? And then I was like, okay, I have to figure out what this is. Um, and then what else is there? This one was a little bit more explicitly taken from something else, but I was listening to my brother and me, and they had this whole debate about would you rather have a cat with a human face or dog with human hands? And I was like, this sounds like exactly something I would do, like something I would draw. And then I did do that, and then I showed it to like, I don't even remember how many people I took a poll from, but it was like shared on my friend's Facebook, and I got a lot of responses. I think I got somewhere around like 70 responses, just like some from my online friends, but mostly people on my campus. It's ridiculous how many people saw my terrible cursed art. I tried really hard on it though. It was all watercolor and everything. I'm like, I don't draw dogs and cats, so I'm gonna try my hardest to make these dogs and cats look good. It was terrifying. Reverse cowboy. Oh, that is a very different thing. What would a reverse cowboy be? Because if we want to take it in a very innocent sense, then it would just be a guy who carries like cattle on his back, or maybe he carries a horse on his back, or maybe it's like an anthropomorphic horse that like rides a person on all fours. I don't know what that would be. Or there is a cow that is controlling a herd of humans' lives. I don't know what his hair. I don't know what this guy's hair looks like. There's 2 images I can find of this guy. I'm gonna hope. This is from the wiki, so I'm gonna hope this is official art. Because he looks cool. I just need this portion of you, though. There's a lot of unnecessary stuff that I don't need from this. wearing human leather? I think that's one of the most cursed things I've heard, like, all week. I'm trying to think if there's anything more cursed. But I do not like the phrase human leather, even though I know it's a thing that exists in the real world. Like, I can't remember what museum it was, but there's a museum that has like a collection of books bound in human skin. I have no idea what's actually contained within those books. I hope it's like, not like a dye or anything, like something medical for there'd be a reason that it's in a museum. It's just very unsettling to think about turning human skin into leather. Because you gotta skin the person to do it. I don't know how this guy's... Okay, I'm gonna do a little breakdown of this guy's hair, because I'm not sure how it works. This is the fun thing about figuring out drawing characters that you've never drawn before, is like trying to figure out all this stuff. I remember the first time... Wait, does it like go over his... What? I guess it like folds over from the back and then the sides go... The sides go to the back. Not as bad as Felix though, who I still have yet to draw properly. I am gonna draw Felix Fire Emblem at some point because I'm starting to realize that he has captured my heart and I haven't even played Blue Lions. Like, I don't use him at all, but I'm still like, I want to know everything about this guy. So I probably will draw Felix at some point. It will probably be a struggle to figure out his hair because it's really stupid. Yeah, you kind of just get used to it after a while, like drawing ridiculous hair. I'm thinking about like all the anime hair that took me forever to draw for the first time, and now I'm just like, yeah, I can do it. And like all the clothes that you're just like, I just have this memorized. But figuring out for the first time how it all works, you're like, I have no idea what this is. It's like being handed a puzzle or something. And you're just like, okay, you know what it looks like. Just figure it out. You're like, okay. Yeah, I'm thinking about like all the hair that when I was younger I used to complain about. Like haiku hair is actually not that bad now that I think about it. It's just like a little weirdly shaped sometimes. It's just like, it can be really fluffy, but for the most part it has a pretty basic and cohesive shape. But actually, I don't know why I had such struggle drawing haiku hair. I used to draw Homestuck hair, and those things literally don't make any sense. Thanks Goku, thanks Cloud. Yeah, I have not attempted their hair yet, but I'm trying to think, what's the worst hair that I've drawn? Minus Homestuck hair. I'm not sure. I feel like there was one. I distinctly remember there being like one person that I just couldn't figure out their hair for a long time. And then I just had to simplify it, but I can't remember who. I was drawing Gallo hair. That, yeah, I still haven't drawn Gallo digitally, I think, except for the goo Gallo that I drew. And that was uncomfortable because it was like trying to draw his ridiculous hair and then also make it look very, very sticky. And I'm like, I don't want to draw this sticky. Homestuck also haunts and vexes me. Occasionally it will beckon to me and I'll be like, I kind of want to finish reading it. And then I'm like, no, there are better things to do with your time. Do not read Homestuck. But there are other parts of me that are like, yeah, but you got to like act whatever, like you got to like act 6, and I'm like, yeah, but act 6 is so long and I only got to act 6 act 1 and there's so much left to read. But I see my friend post about like Homestuck 2, and I'm like, man, I want to read Homestuck 2 for some reason. Um, like I want to know what those kids are up to now because I dedicated so much time of my life reading it. Um, but it's like the sunk cost fallacy. Like you don't need to sink in more time to to this thing. I've already done my time and it didn't do anything like anything productive. I still want to visit like my I like the god tier designs though. I like how people made them like really unique. I still have a bunch of old um I still have a bunch of old art that was back in my Homestuck days of me drawing myself as like my class spec like god tier. And I really kind of want to do that again, but like redesign it where it actually makes a little bit more sense. Just because I think the designs are pretty strong. And I don't. Oh, just realized his ears are pointed. They're even pointed in my sketch. I just didn't notice. I feel like I've drawn from a very poor angle here. I'm still not quite sure how to draw things with or like faces that have like a pointed down perspective. Like I'm not really sure how to proportion them, and that's something I just have to practice. Um, but I'll figure it out. Homestand list. I wonder if I have any Homestuck stuff on this channel. I don't think I do, because I started this channel in like 2015 or 2016, and I was out of Homestuck by like 2014. Um, God, I hope I don't have any Homestuck on this channel. I keep thinking about drawing Homestuck again. If someone suggested Homestuck for this, I probably would have drawn it. But no, I got cursed Danganronpa stuff, and then I got Voltron, which I just am so tired of. So even though it wasn't like a character I hated or anything like that, or I was just really tired of the franchise, so I decided not to do it. Man, that's yeah. Sometimes people just like request things and you're like, I have no idea what this is. Because they expect like, oh, well, you're an artist, you can draw anything. It's like, yeah, but sometimes it takes like practice to know what you're drawing. However, Naoto and Kanji, pretty cool though. Naoto and Kanji are actually what got me into Persona. I don't know, I think I've talked about this on my Twitter or something. But man, he looks really baby faced now. Anyway, there was a very specific meme. I think I deleted it from my Twitter because I realized that it had fan art in it, and I really didn't want to like repost the meme because I didn't draw it. Although it's really old, but I wanted to be on the safer side and respect any artist's wishes. So the meme was, I wasn't really into Angel Beats at the time, and it was like a comparison between like Ayato and Naoi. I don't know why his name was pronounced Naoi when it was definitely like if it were modern or if it were like how every other anime romanized and then pronounced that romanization, it'd be Naoi. So I'm not really sure why he was Naoi. He looks really similar to Naoto. And I love both of those characters when I was younger. I hate Ayato now, though. He's really annoying. But yeah, I saw like a meme that compared them, and I'm like, who's Naoto? And so I looked up who Naoto is, and then I don't know how, but I somehow got to watching the Persona 4 anime because of it. And now here I am, how many years later? I don't even remember when I watched Age of Beats. It was like a long time ago that I got into Persona. But it wasn't until like 2018 that I got really active in the fandom. But yeah, They are still my favorite Persona 4 character is Naoto and Kanji. I was like a really big Kan Nao shipper when I was younger. I still like their relationship. I think it's really cute. I don't know. They feel very much like little high schoolers. They're just like they're you know like 16, 15, 16 years old. And they're just have no idea what they're doing. Um, and they're kind of just like fumbling around with like their identities and expression. That was the microphone. I have the most ridiculous setup for this microphone, by the way. It's like I need to take a picture of it later because this is the I couldn't figure out anything to stand it on, so it's I don't know how else to describe it except for I have a like like a square like knitting thing. There used to be like rubber band knitting or whatever, where you got like those cloth rubber bands. Um, I have I have it like set up so I have like rubber bands holding up the microphone so it's like a little higher up and angled towards my face. Um, it's a very ridiculous setup. I couldn't find the selfie stick that I was using last time, or that I usually use. I don't think I had a microphone setup last time either. Um, yeah, it's a really it's a weird setup. I swear one day, I do want to make like recording things into just like I just like making content in general, and I feel like recording my voice is really fun. I'm not you know, when I was younger, I wanted to be a voice actor, and you know, I don't really want to be an actor of any kind anymore. Um, but I still think it's fun to just like have my voice recorded out there, especially oh my god, it's so embarrassing. Listen to my old recordings of like just random videos that I was doing, and I have like a few voice memes on the channel. Um, I still have this like same microphone as back then, but man, the way that I speak has changed a lot. I definitely sounded like a middle schooler. I don't know how else to describe it. I was in high school when I recorded all these things, by the way, but I sounded like a middle schooler. Um, Oh man. I definitely think I'm a bit more confident in the way I speak. There's still like I can still hear some sort of like hesitations and just like weird vocal quirks that I used to have like still popping up, but it's definitely a lot less prominent. Um, I don't know. I just think it's fun to like record things with your voice, even if you aren't necessarily very good at it, because it's it's just fun to make things. Oh, I have, in terms of what I have recorded, I have podfics for my friends' fan fictions. Like, I think I only have one posted, but it's still up there. I have like, I think I have a playlist called Rin Talks a Lot, and if it's not up there, I must have removed the playlist or deleted it or something, but all the videos are still there. I have a lot of voice memes and stuff like that, so just me answering questions about fandoms I'm in. There's another one that I was gonna post, and it was Fire Emblem themed, and I have not posted it because every time I talk about Fire Emblem, it was supposed to be like a 15 to 20-minute long video, like at the longest. That sucker is like, I recorded it twice, and it kept being over an hour long. So I'm gonna figure out how to shorten it, and then I will probably re-record it again. I do have some random, like, I don't have the files anymore, but I definitely did have some, like, auditions for things from when I was, like, really young. Not that I would have gotten into these things, I just thought it would be cool to, like, audition for them. Um, there were, like, in 2013, I think, audio plays were really big in the Attack on Titan fandom. Because of Attack on Space and Survey Corps, and I desperately wanted to be a part of like some like cool project like that, so I auditioned for like a couple other audio plays that were in the Attack on Titan fandom. Specifically, I wanted to be one of my favorite characters, Riko Brzezinska, a character that no one really cares or talks about because she's kind of a nobody now. Yeah, I really don't know where any of those files went. I think I recorded them on a tablet that doesn't work anymore. But obviously those things aren't like on a microphone or anything, so the audio quality is really bad. I mean, not that I have a really good microphone. I do have an external one now, thankfully, but it's still not the best. I mean, I could I could edit the audio so I could get rid of some of the background noise, but I'm not very good at that yet, so maybe some other time I will figure it out. When I have like a project that I really want to do. But right now, I kind of am more on the side of wanting to do like more visual related things than audio related things. Like if there's an audio component needed, then maybe. Actually, there is a one audio project that I've been wanting to work on since like early 2019. Maybe 20. No, it was literally the very start of 2019 because I came up with this when my parents were out of the house on their like cool anniversary trip to Canada, and I had my friends stay over like 3 days straight. We all came up with hypnosis mic OCs, and I thought, how cool would it be if I were to like make a video, like a lyrics video similar to like the official one, of them singing, what was it, Division Battle Anthem? No, it was the other one, Division All Stars. And I was like, what if I had like all of our OCs and they like flashed by as if they were all a part of like the same division, and we could and then we could sing the parts for our OCs, even if it didn't like match our headcanon, just because, I don't know why I say headcanon, this is literally our own characters. Yeah, if just because I thought it'd be a fun project to do with my friends, and not a lot of us have worked on our OCs for a while. I'm still trying to work on mine, because I like her concept. I need to rework a little bit of her design, and I need to finish drawing her sprite art. But I do plan on actually doing my part. It's okay if my friends don't really want to work anymore on theirs. I do just want to have mine. But yeah, we were just gonna record like a short clip of like a song. And then I was gonna do like some random like musical mixing in place of like actual lyrics, because despite 3 of us having taken Japanese, only one of us can kind of speak it. Yeah, audio setups are weird. It's so hard for me to like conceptualize, because like obviously we like it's pretty like one of the, like, I would say main human senses that we think about, like that we perceive the world with, is hearing. So you'd think that like more people would be able to, or at least I think that I would be able to be more receptive to it and understand just like how things work based on like visuals. But no, I have like a very, very visually minded brain when it comes to these things. I'm like when it comes to like learning, I feel like I'm a good mix of like a tactile, like audio and like visual learner. But I don't know, when it comes to like more artistry things, audio just fails me. I'm so like, I feel like I'm like a little inept sometimes when it comes to like audio, but it's interesting to hear other people's opinions on like music and whatever. I don't have the vocabulary to describe it. It's, like I said, it's not something that I feel very proficient in. But, you know, Other people are much better at it. I appreciate those people. Just use your eyes to see. Yeah. It wasn't until, I think this year, it was until like this year that I was starting to like understand audio more, and that was mostly because my classes kind of require us to understand audio a little bit more. Like, even just today, I was like watching my professor lecture, and he's like, okay, so say you have an amplifier, like radio waves or whatever. I'm like, this is what this means, and this is what this means, and like it's kind of more like flavor text to the actual content that we were trying to learn, but it was, you know, it was supposed to be like this is an application of the way that you're learning to analyze systems, and it wasn't until like obviously there are differences between like what we are doing in the classroom versus like what you would do if you were say like an audio mixer or an audio engineer, because we were just kind of going over really basic concepts, but it's definitely started to help me like visualize sound better. I'm like not happy with this guy's hair at all. I feel like I've spent the most time on this guy. To be fair, he's the first one that I drew that I have no idea who he is, so. Ooh, that sounds cool. But yeah, I guess it's really, we really just gotta like put the pedal to the metal and like learn it. um, yeah, it just takes like a lot of practice that I haven't gotten around to doing yet. Man, I cannot. His nose looks really small. He looks like a child. I cannot. I feel like I maybe put his face too close together. Like it's. I guess if his. If it's like a slightly down tilted angle, it would make sense that his face is like closer together. But that looks too close to his chin. I don't know what I'm doing. Whoever said I knew that I knew how art worked, I don't. Speaking of music, I feel like the playlist that I picked was very somber. I didn't listen to this beforehand because it was 4 hours long, but I was like, what if I just played Fire Emblem music, like calming Fire Emblem music, and I thought it'd be, you know, cool and jazzy, maybe like Persona. I don't know why I thought that, because it is a game about war. But yeah, if I do more audio stuff, it'd probably just be more podfics. But the problem is I'm like too embarrassed to ask fic authors if they'd be cool with me podficking their work. Um, and then even then, I feel like I'm kind of embarrassed to hear myself back. Although that was mostly before. I'm a little less embarrassed now because I like I said, I feel like my voice and my tone is a lot more confident than it used to be. And that's just because I've become more comfortable with speaking in general, and hearing myself back. Because I used to do like voiceover stuff for like promotional things for my club. Um, so I'm like really used to hearing myself talk now, but definitely back then I was like, ugh. I was not supposed to start doing shading on this, but you know what? I'm cool with it. I have like different types of sketches, and I started doing as if I were trying to do like a black and white sketch and not like a I'm gonna color this later sketch. I do that a lot with traditional art. I like mix up what my intent is with the drawing. So a lot of times, if I like really want a drawing to look good, I'll start like shading it in, and then I remember like, no, the graphite is gonna get stuck underneath the watercolor when I color it, and it's gonna look really bad, or just like not as clean. Um, so I need to like remind myself like why I'm doing the sketching. But if I'm just sketching to make something, you know, just because I want an idea on paper and I don't plan on doing anything else with it earlier, I should probably. I've forgotten how to just shade things like with graphite now, because I usually because after like a year of doing my like watercolor sketchbook where I basically watercolored everything, it was hard to remember that like sometimes it is okay to color things or to shade things in with graphite. Does he have, this guy have piercings? I'm really confused. Okay, well, let me zoom into my. Because he has like this weird, like feather stuff on his face. And he has 3 horns. Interesting. Okay. Oh, when I say promotional stuff, it's more like there was a in my robotics club we had a video that we had to do every year for an award, and I was always ever since I was a freshman for like all 4 years, instead of doing like any engineering stuff like I'm studying to do now, I was stuck on the awards team writing like about engineering and about like STEM outreach, because no one else could write. That was kind of my my argument. I was like, I can do the engineering stuff too. The problem is no one else knows how to write, so I'm kind of just stuck writing. Um, and part of what you had to write was like a video script, and then you had to shoot a video and then present it to judges, and then it had like a lot of components to it. And I was in charge of all of them, and I was really picky about how the video came out, and so I would often volunteer to be the person who was like filming, or not filming, but you know, helping like produce the promotional video. I'd be like, I guess you'd say the director, but I also did the voiceover because I was really picky about that. Um, there was one year I didn't do it, and I was still picky about it. I was trying to, I didn't know how else to like communicate, like how like, oh, I want you to retake it this way and like try it again with like this pacing. So I just like completely like voiced over it myself and re-edited it, and I'm like, I want it closer to this. um, like they were like really bad edits. It was just supposed to be like a general idea. Um, but yeah, that's my promotional work. Although I wasn't a commercial once when I was a lot younger. Um, I don't remember what it was for. I think it was like for some youth group thing. I have no idea. Some after school program. But we just ran around and had fun, and that was it. Yeah, it's hard when you are like you have to remind yourself to delegate, especially after how many years of like not delegating I did. There was so many years of just like I have to get this all done myself. It was basically me and one like 2 other people who were like in charge of this project. It was supposed to be like a team effort, but for some reason it was me and one other person always thought like we were the ones who um, like really cared about getting this right. Um, so it was always us stuck writing everything. There was like a whole essay, and then there were like a bunch of questions, and then there was like an interview you had to do, and the video, and we were writing the scripts for like all of them. And so whenever I had to delegate to someone else, it was really hard to like want to give up that power, because I'm very like I was still the final person to edit and read it, but I was still like, God, these people don't know what they're doing. Um, but yeah, it was like I was the head of that like little sub team, but I have to remember like it's a team. It like it can't just be me. So when I started getting like other people helping, like getting on board with it. It was really hard to give that power up. Oh, I didn't even get paid. That was a volunteer thing. I was like in middle school. It was just like, okay, guys, you're gonna have to sign a waiver from your parents that you can be on like TV or wherever they were signing it, like, so you can be on film. And I got it signed, and then we weren't paid anything. We were just, it was all volunteer. I was in middle school. I just wanted to have attention be drawn on me. Um, but yeah. Oh, man, I keep thinking about like delegating because I had I don't know if I should say this. I think I'm good because no they have not mentioned any of my social media or YouTube accounts, and I've been off of this team for how many years at this point. But there was the person there were like several mentors for my robotics team. Um, and they had there was like they were each in charge of something different, and then there was this the only female mentor we had. I don't know why I clarified her gender. It's not relevant in this situation specifically. It is in other situations though. Oh man. um, she was she was in charge of the awards related stuff and like all the outreach things, or most of the outreach things, um, and anything that had to involve the like our school district, but specifically the awards. So she was in charge of the awards team, and I was the student lead of the awards team for like several years. And each and every single year, she would insist that she knows how to write the thing. Like, she knows how to do it. And I'm like, I have been on this team for like how many years? I've done like a lot of research into this because, I mean, you have a job. Like, I'm sure that she did research into it and whatever. But I'm the one, like, communicating with other students and like asking them questions like, okay, you won this award before, like what did you do to get it, blah blah. You know, I had like a system of things that I was of ways that I wanted to like get the award, and did a lot of reading into figuring out like the best way to win. um and she kept insisting that she knew how to do everything, and it wasn't until like my senior year that she finally admitted that like she didn't have to be involved in the process, and that like she just needed to read the final edit to make sure that there wasn't anything important we were missing. um but man, every time we would purposefully, deliberately not include something, we'd have to like tell her like, this is the reason we're not including it, blah 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 and blah 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 and blah blah, and have like this whole list of like reasons that it's a bad idea to do this thing, and she's like, I know better. I'm like, but you don't though. You didn't really have good reasoning when we had talked to you about it. Yeah. Sorry, I have like a lot of feelings about high school. I look fondly upon my memories in the robotics club that I was in. I think it was my favorite part about high school. Um, it was really the only high schooly thing I did in my junior and senior years. Um, wait. But there are still not good memories associated with it. Um, I think about it. If it's fun to think about it as if it were a sports anime, and I used to make that comparison all the time. But there were definitely a lot of really stressful times, and times that are just straight up like broke down crying because I couldn't handle it. Not great, but you know, it shaped me to be who I am now, and I'm going off and studying engineering. I don't. I don't know what this guy's color is up. I'm gonna look at. I'm. Okay. I'm gonna spend like 80 years on this guy specifically. And then it's just gonna be like, it's gonna take no time to do the other 3 people I have to do left, I bet. I'm just gonna leave this to vague coloring. I don't feel like actually coloring it right now. Yeah, high school is so weird. I'm like glad I'm not in it anymore. I mean, I think I was talking about it on a stream before. It's just like I basically got out of high school as soon as possible, because I did like the like classes at my community college, so I just didn't have to stay at the like at the high school for basically all day. I only had one class there, and so I didn't need to be there. It was fun because sometimes, well, it was fun up to a certain point near the end of the year of my senior year, because um, they like started implementing like different safety policies, and like different all the teachers changed out, and so they didn't recognize who I was. So I was no longer free to just go hang out with whoever at whatever time, which makes like sense. I don't want to disturb people. Um, but for the most part, I was just hanging out in the cafeteria waiting for my bus to come. Um, like, cause I had class, and then I'm like, okay, well my bus doesn't come for like 30 to 40 minutes, so I'm just gonna sit in the cafeteria because it's I can like eat and just chill out. But then the safety officers and just like random other teachers were like, you can't sit in the cafeteria anymore. We have a policy against it. And sometimes they would be chill if I said like, oh, I'm just waiting for the bus. Like, I'm like an alternative student. And other times they're like, you have to go to the library. And I'm like, I can't eat in the library. There's like, I have to be so quiet in the library. It's really annoying. Um, I think I'm done with this dude. I don't know what else to do with him. Um, but yeah, it was, yeah, and then I couldn't hang out in classrooms anymore because the teachers were changing out. I had oh, congrats on graduating half a year early. Um, I had a teacher. He's seen me around before, and I get his logic, but what he did was ridiculous. There's one teacher that I had. He was my robotics teacher because I was in two different robotics related things in high school. Um, so he was my ex robotics teacher because I didn't take his class anymore. But I did like hang out in his classroom when I had free time. So I'd hang out in his classroom when I had free time because the people in there, they were kind of wild, but it was really like he was a really chill teacher. So like I didn't mind it that much. Like I understood that's just how his class was. Um, but I went in there. He had a substitute. It was the teacher who taught in the classroom next to him. He taught the same thing, which was video production. Um, and so, which is why he was subbing. And I've seen this guy around before, and he looks at me and he says like, "Are you in this class?" Because he took roll call, and they noticed I didn't say anything, and I'm like, "No, I'm not in this class." And he's like, "Then you shouldn't be in here." And I'm like, "Oh well, like I'll get out, but the like my teacher like lets me be in here as long as I'm like not disturbing anyone, and all I'm planning on doing is like doing homework." Um, he's like, "Okay, but I'm gonna have to make you get a visitor's pass." And I'm like, "What?" He's like, "Yeah, just in case like there's an emergency, we need to be able to keep track of where you are." And I'm like, okay, like I go to this school, but they're making me get a visitor's pass for some reason. I'm not sure why. So I go and do it. So because I want to hang out in that classroom, because it's either that or go hang out in the library, and I hated hanging out in the library. Um, and so I go get a visitor's pass, and the people at the front desk were like, "Are you a student here?" And I'm like, "Yeah." And I'm like, "Why do you need to get a visitor's pass?" "Because I was told to get a visitor's pass. Like, they won't let me into his classroom otherwise." Um, and they're like, "Okay." They were also really confused why I had to get one. Um, yeah, I was. So I got one. It was a really weird photo, and I was like, I don't get why I had to have this. So then I showed it all my friends. Like, I don't know. Like, I go to the school. I'm not sure why I have this. I have my student ID on me. Like, I guess it. Yeah, but logically, it makes sense. Like, that you want to be able to know like where someone is if they're in the case of an emergency. Because I didn't have any classes going on at that time, so they couldn't. If there was an emergency, they just couldn't count me on roll call because I wouldn't be on any roll call list. until they changed the system, and I would be. You would go roll call to the first, like your first period person, like your first period teacher, and I only had first period classes, so at that point it really didn't matter. Like if I was on campus, like it's already a pretty dangerous thing to like have like this weird free period time, so I could either just be on campus or maybe I'm in the building if an emergency happens, so that's pretty scary. But I don't know, it just in my opinion I was like that, it was kind of ridiculous because um if like there if I'm gonna be missing, people aren't gonna know that I'm there even with a visitor's pass because you don't have to sign out of visitor's passes. So I might have just like left or whatever. So I don't know. I thought it was weird. Graduated early in secret too. In fact, I didn't. I I want to say quote unquote graduated early, but in a weird way I graduated late. Like I graduated on time, but I had finals after my graduation. So I don't like you have the ceremony and then you get like counted as graduated, because of the that weird thing that happened with my college. So I had my high school graduation on like a Thursday, I think. And then I went and did grad night, and I got back at 6 a.m. I was very tired. Um, and then I slept, and then I had to be driven to my college graduation the very same day. Um, and then after that, I had, on the Monday after all those graduations, I had a final. I think it was an art final, though. I think there was like some special condition with the art final, but I can't remember. Um, but yeah, it was weird that you have that um, they would schedule finals after the ceremony. Um, Man, my college graduation was also weird. Most people just left because they were really tired of like, because you know there's a lot of people who graduate from a community college, and you don't know most of them. Um, so I don't know. When I graduate from university, I will stay the entire time, obviously. But we were just like on lawn chairs at a high school, which I think is really funny because you know the in high school graduation they made this really big like deal out of it. They were like, okay, we're gonna rent out this university space or like some stadium or whatever. But for this community college graduation, we're like, we're just gonna go to a baseball field like place at this high school. Um, but yeah, there was like a really weird speaker, and then there were also like I don't know, there were way too many of us. No one wanted to stay for the entire thing. Um, and I left early as soon as I got my because they did it by rows. They didn't do it by name because there was no alphabetical order. They just gave you the blank, or they gave you the diploma holder. I think on my Instagram when I posted when I graduated, I'm like, I have a diploma. Like I am now a diploma holder because we got our diplomas mailed later. Which, by the way, mine had a mistake on it. They gave me the wrong diploma for a completely different degree. Which, to be fair, I was very close to completing that degree as well, along with the one that I actually did. But I thought it was really funny. It's just like, this is not the one this is not the one I worked for. um, but yeah, the speaker was weird. She was just like, I didn't know how to describe it. It was I don't want to say it's like SJW-ish because that sounds bad, and it makes me sound like I hate people who fight for social justice. But it was just, it was very unjustified. Like some of those statements that she made, and it was really confusing. Like I didn't understand any of it. I wish I had like could remember exactly what she said. But I know part of it was like, if you go to college, you're like less likely to like have kids or like have like a really big family or something. And I'm like, And like, is that a bad thing to have like a really big family? Like, it's really dependent. It was really judgmental of people's choices. I don't want to have a really big family, and I feel like there's a lot of struggles with it. But I also don't feel like you should pass shade on those people, because especially with a community college, you're probably gonna have people with really big families in there, or like. Oh, I know one thing she said was like you're more likely to be less religious, and I'm like, what? Like, I am not a religious person, but like it was still really weird that she would say that. Just like, yeah, did you know this random fact? Like, I guess. Like, but I'm sure there's many people who are religious here, and like there's nothing wrong with being religious. Like, as long as you're, accepting of other people's beliefs, and, you you believe in the world around you, you're not like, nothing is real and we should all die, then, like, I think you're good to believe things. Um, it was so strange. Oh, speaking of that degree, I am planning on going back. Like, I have one credit I need to take and I'm going back to get that degree so I can transfer it over to my current university so I can get rid of a couple classes. Because if you do a direct transfer of like the degree I got was like an Associates of Science, but if you get an Associates of Art, you can do like a direct transfer to the university, and they'll just get rid of all of your core classes, except for philosophy and religious studies. Those are the two you have to take. Like, you have to take those classes; they can't be waived. But the one class I have is just like literally any class, so I'm gonna take a philosophy class, so I don't have to do it. Which, good thing, I was already planning on taking it as an online class anyway, so there's no risk in it being like all weirdly canceled, I guess. Yeah. I forgot who I was drawing for a second. I just started doing a face shape. I'm drawing Marie from Persona 4. Um, a character who is always looked like a Hot Topic girl. And I've never really liked her design. But you know what? My friend really likes Marie, so I'm gonna draw it. I'm gonna draw her for him. I'm sure she has good aspects. I just haven't found any that I've enjoyed yet. Oh, that is the wrong thing. I did not mean to copy a tongue. The least divisive character persona. Oh my gosh, I always love super divisive characters in Persona. It's ridiculous. Or just most characters I like are very divisive in general. Like, or has I don't want to say like all the ones I like or have like fandom like arguments about them, even though that's true. Um, because there's fandom arguments about every character, but I feel like mine especially. I love Naoto, and there's still like a huge debate. I was kind of surprised that it's still going on. There's a huge debate about Naoto's gender, um, and then who else? Kasumi, her whole costume is like a really big debate. I've just tried to ignore it. And like withhold my opinion on it because I don't want to get like I don't want to start some argument with someone. I'm really tired about it. I just think that maybe we shouldn't bully people, and I don't think that's a hard. That's not like a. I don't feel like that's a divisive thing to say. Maybe we shouldn't bully people. um, and then who else? Kanji I feel like is less divisive than before, but I definitely feel like when I was younger, kanji was like this whole big thing. Um, who else? Akechi, just Akechi's everything. Oh man, I like can't. I'm so glad I have Persona muted on everything, so I don't have to see everyone's like bad takes. And people are entitled to their opinion, but I'm also entitled to think it's I to not agree with it and not want to see it. Yeah. I can't talk about Cosme and her design ever like to anyone because I'm just so tired of it. It was so it would like envelop my Twitter feed. I just like I couldn't anymore. I was just like, you know what? I'm just not gonna say anything. Yes, I also think kanji is bi or pan. Um, because I feel like the way that I read Persona 4, and people are completely entitled to read it differently. When I was younger, I definitely read it Naoto as like a trans character, but now I feel like I've grown up more, and I I've always kind of like projected part of myself onto Naoto, which is why I kind of feel uh, like passionate but still like very subdued. I don't want to fight anyone over their own personal headcanons of Naoto because I know that can also be like really personal for other people. So I'm not here to step on anyone's toes. I'm just kind of discussing why I see it this way. When I got older, I rejected less of my own femininity, and so I started understanding I feel like the intent of like Naoto's narrative. Not to say that it's like the right or wrong one, but I feel like it was intended to be more about you know like sexism to the point where you feel like you need to um, like reject feminine characteristics. I don't think that Naoto is a very feminine person just in general, and I don't think I'm like the most feminine person in general either. I say like wearing all makeup and having like longer hair than normal and wearing a dress or whatever. You know, those aren't necessarily. It's a costume, um, but you know, I feel like as I grew up and felt more and more comfortable, like with my gender identity, I felt less. I felt less need to distance myself from the feminine side of things. And so I kind of read Naoto's narrative in a really similar way, where I see Naoto as either like a cis woman or non-binary, and that's kind of like my opinion on things, and that I just don't read it as a trans male narrative in my eyes. But I also don't understand people who bully other people for thinking different for them, and it makes me so stressed out. um Man, yeah, it's hard. I have to be very careful when I talk about Naoto with other people. um cuz I don't know, I like to think that at least with Naoto specifically, I've been able to distance myself a bit more, like my personal identity and the feelings that I project onto their character from like the sort of headcanons other people have at this point. But I don't know if other people can do the same. And I get it's projecting onto a character is a really like personal experience, and I get it. Um, so I just have to be like very careful when I talk about my opinions on characters in Persona. um, but yeah. Well, I feel like, man, I love all the characters that spark all kinds of backlash. Yeah, there's a lot of different interpretations, and I love like all of them. I love the fact that people can look at this narrative and read completely different things from it, like just based on their own personal experiences and the different things that they pick up on. I think that's great. I think that's great that we can all have a different reading of the same narrative. However, I do think that we need to acknowledge that um, just because we have a reading, it doesn't mean it's a canon reading. And the whole topic of canonicity in general is like really divisive. Because at some point things get so ambiguous that you'll start to argue like what does canon really matter. Um, um, and I feel like it's not necessarily the best to say like
this is like canon and my feelings are valid because it's canon. I think we can just say like my feelings are this way and so I read it this way. I don't feel like we need the validation of like authorial intent necessarily um, to feel like we like our opinions are like the best or the most right. Yeah, that's definitely it. It really stresses me out to talk about my opinions on like a public forum. I like have in my card, like I don't discuss my like in general. I just like don't discuss my opinions in like I just don't discuss my opinions on social media that much. When it comes to like fandom stuff, I feel like I can pretty confidently say like some political opinions. I won't share like all of them because that's not really why I'm on social media. Good for people who are trying to get out there and make a change by having their like thoughts be visible. But for like fandom stuff, at least, I don't really like sharing my opinions on fandom related things because I don't know who is just going to be searching up, like, especially the way Twitter is. I don't know who's just going to be searching up a name and they're going to be like, I saw that, I saw that, I'm going to respond to you. Because I've had it happen to me before. Not on like really, not on like arguments for things where it's just like, I don't think blah 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 is blah 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 blah. But I was watching like a video on it was just like this really random video about I think it was like the anime fights thing, or it was like Weiss versus like Mitsuru, like who's the better ice queen, and I started talking about it and then someone was like, hey, by the way, like I don't think that, and I know they were completely respectful for like their opinion. But it kind of freaked me out because I'm like, this person doesn't follow me. This person was just searching something online and they just happened to find my tweet and they were like, I'm gonna respond to this, just like some random person. Because I, for the most part, my instinct is if I see something I don't agree with, if it's funny, and if I don't think it'll cause a lot of harm, I'll like DM it to my friend. They're like, hey, look at this. And that's the most I will do. And if I don't agree with it, like I'll yeah, if I don't agree with it, I don't know the person. I just don't respond, because typically they're just kind of putting their voice out there, and it's up to their like friends if they want to have like a debate about it. Because I definitely know it can be really stressful to have a like discussion with someone you don't really know online. Because you don't know how they're gonna react. They don't know if they're gonna call you names or like bully you or whatever. So I just, for the most part, I don't do it. Um, and I have like there's only like one time that I've been really successful at having a conversation with someone that I disagreed with on like an opinion, and we were like pretty strongly against each other's sides. Um, and I wouldn't say it's like, oh, it was the perfect conversation. We were totally understanding of each other's, because I definitely felt myself like trying not to be heated about it. And I definitely could sense like they were also trying not to be heated about it. But for the most part, we were trying to be really conscious of each other's feelings because we know each other and we're friends. And that's just something that you don't really get with strangers on the internet. So I try I try really hard to just like let things live, even if I think they're like not good takes. I'm like, I don't want to draw attention to them, because if I don't agree with them, it's only like inviting more anger into myself. At least for me, the reason that I go on social media is not because I want to, I don't want to say like be self-righteous, because I don't think that everyone who gets into these discussions is trying to be self-righteous, but I don't feel like the reason I'm here is to debate with other people, because for me personally, it caused me a lot of stress. Um, so I don't really want to have um, like those debates with people I don't know. I'm just here to relax and have fun, and if I'm not having fun, then there really isn't a point. which is why I started like muting things so much on Twitter, because I really just didn't like, it wasn't fun anymore to be part of these communities. So I was like, you know what, how about I just have the only people provide me content be like my friends, who are like a lot better at vetting this stuff than I am. But yeah, who else? I'm trying to think. God, all the characters I love. She's so divisive. Think about Edelgard. I don't like thinking about Edelgard every time. I just like thinking about. I don't want to erase people who have very strong opinions about her, because that's fair. This is a game where there's a lot of stuff going on, a lot of really serious stuff, a lot of serious stuff with parallels to the real world. I just think that we could all be more respectful about it if you want to discuss those opinions. Regardless of the content of your opinions itself, I just don't think that going into the tags of whatever character, or just looking at any picture of the character, is like a blight against humanity, especially if it's like a fan artist spent literal like hours or days drawing this piece only to have it be like, why did you do X? Or just anytime someone just like, why didn't you, why did you blah blah blah, and it's not like a fun inquiring question where you're trying to get into the artist's mind. Like, it's not like you're doing some like art interview, like, oh, why did you choose to like pick this flower to represent them? You know, if it's not, if you're just purposefully trying to get like some sort of rise out of the like author or artist, it always gets me. It's like, why do people do this? Yeah, what if I just thought it would go down? Yeah, oh my gosh. Yeah, I have opinions on Edelgard's character, but I also feel like I'm biased, because she was the first character that I got really invested in the whole Fire Emblem series. It was like her, like there are other characters from Three Houses that like aesthetically kind of got me, but she was like the first one I was like, I'm really interested by her narrative. And also, yeah, she's hot. I can't deny that part. So like I'm willing to admit that my opinions on her are probably pretty biased. But I also think, wait a minute, I just realized that I drew this Pocky the wrong way. Which you can't really tell, but in my head, this Pocky is incorrect. But yeah, I can't, there's part of me that really wants to like Dimitri, but I also just, like, his fan base also scares me. Claude's fan base really scares me, actually. Before I was like, man, everything's great here when you're a fan of the Golden Deer. And then I was like, oh no, everything's actually also sucks here. I swear, you can't talk about any of the lords. It's really hard to just like find any content without someone being like, I can't go on any other tags. If I search anything, there's always gonna be some argument about something. So this is why you like characters like Dorothea. I was trying to go through the list of characters, like, who doesn't have people constantly arguing about them? And I was like, Petra? It's like, no, there's a lot of argument about Petra and how she's written. And just like a lot of interpretations where I don't personally like. And I'm like, okay, Lysithea is like a little bit less divisive, but I still see arguments about her, and like how it's mostly just about, they're pretty calm, but sometimes it's just about, like, you guys don't appreciate her trauma enough. And I'm like, I mean, yeah, I do think we should pay attention to it, but it's also very yelly, the way sometimes people are. It's, like, really, like, assertive. It's just like, if you don't have every depiction of this character follow this guideline, then it obviously doesn't mean, like, it means that you obviously don't care about, like, this side of them. And then I'm thinking, like, Bernie also has the same problem. There's a lot of characters I like that are just, oh, Leonie. I starting to like Ingrid more. I haven't gotten into playing Blue Lions yet, but um, I can definitely tell that me me starting to like Ingrid is not going to be good for me as a fan. I already can't handle how many people dislike Leone. I'm gonna cry. Um, I feel a little bad because I'm like kind of indulgent that as well. Her, where with Lorenz, I have a weird. I have a. I think I've said this before. I have a weird place. Um, yeah, everyone's supposed to smooch Dorothea. Um, I have a weird place. Lorenzo has a weird place in my heart. I don't understand it. He's something about him when I first saw him. It was his haircut. I don't know why I said something. It was his haircut. I was like, oh my god, this guy is ridiculous. I need to enjoy this character. And then I saw his supports, and I'm like, I don't like him. Um, and now I've been rewatching his supports. I'm like, okay, you're kind of well written, but I still don't like your personality. And but I do admit that he does have some growth, but I just personally it's just not enough for me. By the end of Three Houses, I just don't. I don't feel like he's improved enough for me to actually, me personally, be friends with him. Um, and he's really easy to clown around because of his ugly haircut. That is one thing I will say confidently. His haircut is ugly. I'm pretty sure everyone acknowledges it. Um, yeah, he's really easy to clown around, and I kind of feel bad because I'm thinking like I'm friends with some Lorenz stands. There are probably people who are really tired of like all the feet jokes that are being made and all the bad haircut jokes and like ignoring everything else about his character. Um, yeah, it's just I feel better for those fans because it's just like I feel like that's actually for any fandom I've been in. There's always been something that fans really like fixating on one joke. And I think that's like fine. It's pretty harmless for the most part, and I don't expect everyone to have to always have a serious analysis of every single character and know how to depict like every aspect of their personality in every single thing. That's kind of unrealistic to expect. Um, it's more like as a whole fandom, like as a whole community, we choose to pick on specific things, which can get annoying. So I don't think there's anything wrong with a catchy pancake jokes, but God, if I ever